I would like to say I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, but there is no bottom. I would like to say I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart, but there is no bottom. Robert Clancy on our Unity FM radio show this week, that was his statement. It captured me. It was a moment. It was I hear you. It was exactly. When it comes to love, when it comes to life, when it comes to what God has in store for us, there's no bottom. There's no place we can reach dig enough to find where it ends, you see. We cannot outlive nor outgive God. Could you say that with me? We cannot outgive nor outlive God. Robert Clancy's core value is love. It's love. That's what we are talking about today. That's what's emerging forward for us to embrace is what are our core values? What are your core values? And what does that mean as far as life? When you're coming from the essence of real love, of a love that is immersed and given to us by the good pleasure of spirits, as the birds tell us, don't worry, don't be anxious. The fishes of the sea don't be concerned because they know there is no bottom. There's no bottom. We've been trained to think there's a bottom. We have lines and squares and boxes and dividing realities that we have co-created that tell us that there's only enough. There's only so much. You know, I'm looking for the love of my life, and if I'm disappointed, well, I'm on bottom. Or if I'm disappointed because I had a pet and it moved on and, all that, I can't do that again because for me in my life, there's a bottom. There is no bottom. There's no bottom. We can't outgive it. We can't outlive it. We can't. My core value is connection. It's one of a number of them that I have, but it's connection every Sunday morning. For those people that want to show up at 9 o'clock, we hold hands. We're mindful of the hands we're holding. We're mindful of the team. And in that space, I always say, let us come from a place of connection rather than perfection. The connection part. So on where I live, I go every now and then to get my nails done. And so it's a Vietnamese-ran organization. And usually they speak Vietnamese, when you're in there. And I speak bilingual, English and Southern. So we kind of want to understand each other, but it's like, whatever you just said, well, whatever you just said. And so in that space one day, as the nail tech was doing my fingers, I heard her break into song, and she went, I love you more than I can say. And I went, whoa, whoa, yeah. I love you more than I can say. I love you twice as much tomorrow. Oh, yeah. I love you more than I can say. Whoa, 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 yeah. I love you anyway, you get the point. So when I did that, then the entire place, everybody stood up and we started singing. And so I told BB, I said, now it's so easy for me to make an appointment because I used to call and there was a hall. I'd say, hi, it's Temple what? I'd say, Temple huh? And so now when they answer the phone, the nail place, I go, whoa, whoa, yeah, yeah. I love you more than I can say. Anyway, so, but I was in there yesterday and every one of them took the time to come over to me and to say, we want to thank you. We want to thank you because you're happy. And you remind us of happiness. And that was such a moment of humility for me because, see, so much of my life I didn't understand the word happiness. I recall going to my 20-year high school reunion, and it was just a few years ago, actually. And I remember in that space of just listening and observing the conversations that were going on. Who do you live with? Who do you no longer live with? What kind of car do you drive? Where have you been? What places have you seen, experienced, and those kind of things. I didn't hear anybody asking the question, are you happy? Are you happy? Often people will say, well, you know, happiness, that's kind of understood, isn't it? It's kind of understood, don't you think? And I go, well, no, because if happiness is understood, then I come from the premise and the belief that a lot more people would understand it if it was understood. His Holiness Dalai Lama would describe happiness like this. Read it with me. Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. Let's do it again with meaning. Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. So what does that say about happiness? It says that we have to do something that's an action step. Right? We have to take a step. If we look at the unity principle, the laws of new thought, we're talking basically cause and effect. If we plant a seed to create an orange tree, what are we going to get? Orange tree. We're not going to get a lemon tree, we're going to get an orange tree. Yes? A happy orange tree, right? Yes. So if we plant the cause, and the cause is happiness, the effect is going to be joy. Happiness, as human beings, our cause, our action, is an action of happiness. So it's going that extra 10%. It's reaching out to someone. It's making a connection. It's taking time to be original. That would be a great idea. And kind of do something out of the ordinary that in the quiet or in the boxes of how people live is not the norm. The only thing normal is the cycle on the washing machine. So there is no about that. It's how do we come from that action step. And that's the part that so many don't understand is I will be doing all these things when I then become happy. You know, oh yeah, I'll get more involved over there at the church when I'm more happy. You know, or when I'm really going to fall in love one day, fall all the way down. I'm going to fall and bump my head. And I'm going to fall in love. I am, but I'm going to wait till I'm happy. And so what that cause creates is a never being happy, is a never being joy, because I'm going into action with my divine happiness. Yes? What does it say in Scripture? It says it very clearly. I will see you again and you will rejoice and no one will take away your joy. Because when the effect is joy, then you understand there is no bottom. When your effect is bliss, I mean, you can literally be squalling your eyes out and being happy at the same time. Because you're in that infinite joy that it's infinite, that there is no end. In 2 Corinthians, it says, I am greatly encouraged. In all our troubles, my joy knows no bounds. Say that with me. My joy knows no bounds. So the action of happiness eliminates any false reality that we're looking for something outside of ourselves to justify our causation. We just continue to step into action with that happiness, and therefore, the next thing we know, we are there. We are there. Core values. Core values are the ideas that allow a father and mother or parents to say goodbye to their child that's moving across the country, and they can do it in love. Core value is the idea of the ability to put the booze and the pills back in the shelf where they belong. Because one knows instinctively that to be innately connected to spirit, to be influenced and medicated, is not the answer. Yes? Core values is what brings us to a place that we realize it is not theory of metaphysics, but by far it is the practice of metaphysics, which is our divine medicine. Way too much theory, not enough practice. We pray for the entire New Thought movement that we won't keep debating what the Fillmores said, but we'll get busy and live in a place of action-oriented life, okay? Or what? Your core values are the thing that help you rise in the morning, really rise, and be awake throughout the day, you see. Ernest Holmes, founder of Science of Mind, he had a core value, and his core value was to leave a place different than the way he found it. And that was what he operated from all the time. And he used to speak to audiences every week in California, 2,000 or 3,000 people. And so he had an entourage of people that would be with him, and he would stand right there as people were coming in or as they were singing, and he'd go throughout the audience, and he would shake a hand or he'd hug somebody. And his team kept saying, Ernest, why do you do that? There's so much energy. Why don't you stay in the vestry, or we'll, march you down the hall and you can come? And he said, no. It's important to me to have the consciousness to pick up the exchange that's going on with other people. Because the very nature of touching them or being in their energy field, it influences what I'm going to say today. I followed that path myself, because when I heard that story some 30 years ago, it changed me forever. So in that space, he was training a minister, Bill Hornaday, who went on to replace him. And Bill said that one night they were in this crowded place, and Ernest is out there shaking hands, and he said, here walks this woman of the night, this lady of the evening, a prostitute, and so she walks up to Ernest and she gives him a big hug, and he said she had the longest eyelashes. They were about that long. And he said, there's Ernest, and they're just smiling and everything, and they're kind of like telling these little secrets to each other, and he was like, what's going on? This is my teacher. So he said, well, whatever, bless it, let me go into prayer, And so then after the event, he starts looking for Ernest. And he sees Ernest, now he's with this woman, and they're like walking out. And he's like, where are they going? And then it occurs to him that Ernest is taking this woman to his hotel room. And he's like, this is Dr. Ernest Holmes. Why is he doing that? And he was just like, I don't even know what to do with myself. And so he's there in the hotel, Bill Hornaday, and he's pacing up and down the hall, pacing. Do I knock? Do I go in the door? Do I save Ernest? What's going on? So in a little while, Ernest comes, he opens the door, comes out. He says, come here, Bill. We got some work to do, Bill. He walks in, and there's a woman. She's had all that makeup taken off her face. She's changed what she was dressed in. She's fixed her hair. He said, Bill, I want you to take her down to the subway today. We're going to get her back where she's safe with her family. Before you do that, here's some money. I want you to buy her a hat so no one can recognize her, Bill, because she's very well known here. I want you to cover her up so no one will know. But we have to do our work, Bill. Thank you for doing that. So, such a moving moment. In a moment of a value, simple value that says, I want to see something, and I want to leave it different than the way I saw it. Yes. That energy, that's unity. That's life. That's spirit in action. Brian Clement spoke on Friday night, Hippocrates Institute. I was telling Denise, by far, it's one of the best lectures in my entire life I've ever heard related to health and spirituality. They'll be back in August, so make a point not to miss it. But that being said, he said that, we don't often realize the places that we learn from, but we always remember the spaces that we felt something. Right? We don't often remember the places that we learn from, but we remember the spaces that we felt something. And he said, when we look at the red energy dis-ease that we have today, that's what I would call it, a lot of it, not all of it, it's because of the lack of or the dysfunction of our emotionality. Our action, realizing there is no bottom. To just open up, love it all, love it, love it, love it, love it, and just give it all that you got, love it, love it, love it. Whoa, 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 whoa. Like that, you see. So that's that That's that space. Some of you may remember Jackie Hawkins, the intern that was here with us for a while. I wasn't aware of this at the time, but I saw an article that she had written for Unity Village that she actually went to church with Dr. Martin Luther King. So in honor of Black history, I took that in of that essence, and she said, to see him be there with people, it wasn't just what you would say, oh, that was dynamic. She said that he lived like the coaches of football tell the team, leave it all on the field. Leave it all on the field. And she said, and when he spoke, or when he was there at the church in Atlanta, Ebenezer, I believe is the name of it. Is that the correct pronunciation? In that Ebenezer, depending on where you're from, I guess. Okay, so anyway, that it was just magical because he gave it all, because he had this core value of service. Because when you come from the core value of service, you know, there is no bottom. You can't outlive, you can't outgive infinity. Simply can't do it. Not possible. So I ask you this week for you to think about your core values. Maybe they've changed. Maybe you have a couple to let go of and you move forward into a couple of new ones, but really assess them, what they are, and then ask yourself, how can I give 10% more in my life regarding this value that I have picked? Maybe I could create more intimacy within my family. Maybe we could create different dinner settings instead of everybody on their phone texting one another as we're sitting there taking photos of our experience. Perhaps then I could, call somebody instead of just Facebooking and Twittering them. What could I do that is 10% more, 10% more? Maybe appreciate my home that I have, the place that I live, the first world country issues, we call them. Maybe we could be in a place of gratitude, and for 10% more of the day, for a while, be thankful. Be grateful for what you have. Be grateful for your experience. Our core values here at First Unity are, we are growing with intention. That means we are guided by a value that unity is the answer for this world right now. Not tomorrow, but now. Yes? We're growing with intention. We practice inclusion and diversity. We really practice worldwide. Wide to us means people from all walks of life, all faiths, all color, all preferences, whatever, all. And all living things. And then we have sacred service. And we have expressing the arts. These are part of our core values in which we live and move and have our being, and we are leading edge. And that's what is so important of a value for all of you to hold, is to be leading edge. Don't wait to be the follower. You'll be waiting a very long time. You'll discover, like I did many years ago, happiness won't come to you. You must create some kind of inertia in order to create the attraction so it will find you. Yes? I'd like to close with a story about a man. He's walking down the street, and as he's walking, this car comes up behind him and slams on brakes. He's like, So he goes to the left, and here comes the car following him. And as the car's following him, and he's kind of aware, it's like, slams on brakes again. So he said, well, let me go this way. So he goes down this road. Here's the car following him. Same thing, slams on brakes. He went, that's enough. So he goes back to the car, and he was really shocked when he saw that the driver was a squirrel. And the squirrel said to him, I just wanted you to know what it feels like. So the moral of the story is, without core values, you'll be all over the place.